The Cold War, which means the continuous state of war between USSR and USA without fighting each other directly, was an important and event-filled period of world history. So let us understand it with memes. After the end of World War II and Britain losing its superpower status on the world stage, the two obvious strongest countries were capitalist USA and communist USSR. Both were suspicious of each other, and it was thought that the next war will be between these two. But the invention of atomic bomb had made this a less likely future, as it would certainly mean mutually assured destruction of the world. So they fought, but, in a cold way, intervening in other smaller countries as matters and fighting proxy wars, destroying them. Yay! The first major event was the Berlin airlift, where Stalin decided to cut off the Allies' routes to West Berlin, which was under Allies, so they had to airlift and drop the supplies. After that, USSR made good relations with the newly formed Communist China, and US got cozy with Taiwan. And Stalin taught his friend Mao his techniques of mass murdering own citizens. After this, in Korea, USSR-backed Communist North invaded South, after which UN and the Allies sent their armies to protect South and drove the Communists almost back to China. At his point, General MacArthur wanted to drop a nuke, but considering USSR had one too, they didn't. China joined the war to protect its Korean border. Around this time, Daddy Stalin died and went bye-bye, and new leader Nikita Khrushchev went on a de-Stalinization process to make Soviet Union a lesser scary place. US thought he would make their relations better, but events soon led the US-USSR relations even worse. Full-on spying, espionage, anti-commie and anti-capitalist propaganda was in full force on both sides, coupled with an unending race to make more and more dangerous weapons. This led to US-led NATO and USSR's Warsaw Pact, which were defense pacts that meant one attack on any member meant an attack on all. Now, to hide the failure of communism, USSR put up a wall in Berlin to stop people defecting to the West. This led to Checkpoint Charlie incident, where both sides pulled up on the Berlin Wall with tanks and the world looked in horror. They backed out later, but it wasn't the last time the world came close to nuclear Armageddon. Sometime later, USSR put missiles in Cuba, which is on America's doorsteps, to help the newly communist Cuba be able to protect itself from USA. This angered USA, that started a naval blockade and pointed its missiles on USSR, and USSR pointed its on them back. Nice! Soviets shot down an American plane in Cuba, and Soviet submarine crew almost fired a nuclear torpedo. Nice! War was almost imminent, and at this point Khrushchev just called Kennedy and asked him to remove their missiles from Turkey, and Soviets would do the same in Cuba. Problem solved. So, to be more responsible, USSR and USA decided to continue destroying smaller countries where the stakes were lower. Vietnam looked good. So USSR trained and funded the Communist North, and USA helped the South, before jumping in itself to fight the North Vietnam Communists. They did the same in Middle East with Israel and the Arab conflict, Angolan civil war in Africa, and many more. But one of these would prove fatal for USSR: Afghanistan. The graveyard of empire was having a pro-communist government, but US-funded Mujahideen were fighting it, and USSR entered to stabilize it. But instead, they were stuck in a long, unwinnable war that drained their finances and made public more angry. At the end, USSR dissolved and the world took a long, deep breath of relief. Until the next one.